So you're looking in Orange County coastal cities, and you're comparing two that are rather common, and this is Huntington Beach and San Clemente. Now, if that is you, this is definitely going to be the video for you, because I'm going to break down the differences between both Huntington Beach and San Clemente. And if you're new to the channel, first of all, thank you for coming and welcome. My name is Christian Stubbs. I'm a team leader and owner of Onyx Homes, which is a real estate sales team based in Southern California. We've helped over 700 people move just in the last 5 years, since 2020. And this channel is all about Orange County, where we try to give you as much information as possible so that you can make the best decision with buying your next home or wherever you're looking to make a move to. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is just overall size and population, so you can get a little bit better idea before we get into the weeds here on these two different cities. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to our website, onyxhomes.com, and I'm going to go to our home search website. So if you go to onyxhomes.com and you click up here on the top left, you're going to pull up our home search. Now, let's start with Huntington Beach. If I can spell, there we go. So we're gonna go to Huntington Beach first. Now, from a size perspective of Huntington in comparison to San Clemente, Huntington Beach is quite a bit bigger. So Huntington is like 32 square miles, whereas San Clemente is just a hair under 20. So if we zoom out and we look at where are these two different cities, let's look at where Huntington is at. And we are in North Orange County. Huntington is the largest, I believe at least, it's the largest coastal city in Orange County. So let me go ahead and type in San Clemente so we can look at these two in comparison. And San Clemente is the southmost city in Orange County. And you can see it's quite a bit smaller. And frankly, San Clemente, from the size that I just mentioned, is even smaller than that, because so much of the city size is like uninhabited right before Camp Pendleton down like towards San Diego. So anyway, San Clemente is the southmost city in Orange County. It's neighbored by Dana Point, San Juan Capistrano, and then technically Rancho Mission Viejo as well too, as this is a new development here in San Juan area down by San Juan Capistrano. And this 241 toll road, or Los Patrones, that turns into the 241 toll road, is what connects it to like inland Orange County, if you will. So anyway, the San Clemente is like I said, the southmost is connected to Dana Point and San Juan Capistrano. Whereas Huntington, being in central, or rather North Orange County, it neighbors Newport, Costa Mesa to the south, and then to the east you've got kind of Fountain Valley, Westminster, and to the north you have Seal Beach, which is the end of Orange County. Kind of this cutoff here is Seal Beach is where Orange County really stops, and we turn into LA County right here. So overall, Huntington is a very large coastal city, and it spans basically the entire west of the 5 freeway. So it's not really just a coastal city. It is very much suburb. So once you really leave the like border line here, right on the ocean, Huntington is incredibly flat. So if you're 2 or 3 streets in on Huntington Beach, you're not getting any ocean views whatsoever. And in this area, like for example, this general area here doesn't really feel all that different than this area here and this area here, so on and so on. So that's kind of Huntington Beach. And the other thing that I'll mention too that's very different is that Huntington has the Huntington Harbor. So there are homes right here on the ocean, obviously on the ocean, on the harbor. And this isn't as commercial as the Newport Harbor, for example, or even the Dana Point Harbor, but San Clemente doesn't have that. So what San Clemente does have is the pier, which we'll get to in a second. But the last thing I'll say about Huntington, as far as beaches go, the beaches in both are similar. Both are known for surfing. That is one major thing as far as just overall. They are both absolute 2 of the best cities for surfing. I think the only other one you'd really throw in there is Laguna Beach, but I think San Clemente and Huntington are more so known for surfing. Not as a surfer myself, just in general. Now, the beach, like the actual coastline. So the beaches in both, like the actual beachfront in both San Clemente and Huntington are rather flat, like the beaches themselves. However, San Clemente is more on a hillside and cliff, as where Huntington is completely flat. So what you'll see, and you can even see this on the screen here, is like this big yellow and green stretch is like there's just a lot of sand. It's like a mass sand in Huntington, versus down in San Clemente you really just don't see that, right? It is a very skinny, narrow, you can just see the difference there. It's a very skinny, narrow beach. Even down here by the pier, T Street's probably where it's the largest. And then you've got your down by Trussels and all that, like your surfing spots are down here. So anyway, that's the biggest difference. Now, The only other thing on like terrain, I mentioned that San Clemente is more of a hilly area. So like this whole area here is going to be on a hillside. So this entire thing, assuming you're ocean facing and not obstructed, is going to have ocean views. And that is one big kind of differentiating factor between the just kind of layout, I guess, of the two different cities. Also, both are going to be more suburb focused, unless in San Clemente, I would say, unless you're west of the freeway. Pretty much everything that is over here, like for example, this whole section, I'll just very roughly draw this, like this whole area here is not really suburbs. It's not really like your HOA feel. HOA is the wrong way to explain it, but not really like your suburb feel. Yes, there are some, but it's more of like this type of a feel rather than a little bit less of this. And in Huntington is like all suburbs for the most part. Now, I just erased my whole entire thing, so let's go back down here to San Clemente. And then, like I said, your north San Clemente areas. So you've got Talega is this whole area up here, and then you've got Flora Vista. So there's a lot of different neighborhoods that are in here, Rancho San Clemente as well. These are all suburbs as well. So from an overall standpoint, those are kind of the differences between Huntington and San Clemente from from an actual land perspective. Now let's look at it on a real estate perspective, and then I'll get into lifestyle. All right, so your median home price in Huntington Beach is just a hair under $1.4 million, and your median home price in San Clemente is just a hair under $1.8 million. So there's about a $400,000 premium on the median side to live in San Clemente versus Huntington. Now, why is that? Here's some major reasons for it. Is Huntington has way more affordable areas than than San Clemente does. I would say both of them are rather similar on the really high-end stuff, as that there's not a ton of very, very high-end that sells ever. And the Huntington has a lower a lower barrier to entry, I'll put it that way, than San Clemente does. San Clemente also has lots of affordable places, but not nearly as many as Huntington. Honestly, Huntington is one of the more affordable cities to live in if you want to be anywhere near the ocean. And I think the biggest reason for that is, like, if we look back on the map for Huntington Beach, is it's because it goes so far north or rather east and west. Technically it's north and south, but it ranges all the way to the edge of the 405 freeway, which if you look at like where Fountain Valley, like Huntington still is kind of over here, like this isn't really a coastal city, right? If you look at like Dana Point, for example, or if you look at Newport turns into Costa Mesa before too long, right? And Huntington just doesn't really do that. So I think just by the nature of Huntington being much larger and it goes more inland, that's a huge part of why it feels more affordable when you look at that median price point. Having said that, if you're looking anywhere near the 1.5, 1.6, the $1 million range, you're gonna have options in both areas, but you're gonna get a really wide range. So for example, let's look at both cities real quick. And I'll look at the more affordable side and I'll look at the more expensive side. So if you look at Huntington, and we're also going to look at San Clemente, I'm going to look first at the most affordable stuff. And before that I do that, I'm going to hit these well, let me just show you real quick. So I'm going to hit the most affordable stuff. So we're going to search from not newest. We're going to go to lowest price stuff first. So as you can see, this is what I was going to say I was going to filter out. Is we have manufactured homes, 50, 60, 100, 200. There's a lot of that, a lot in Huntington. Like as you can see, almost all of them are in Huntington except for this one here in San Clemente, which this I believe is in a 55 plus community. So anyway, let me filter that stuff out just so we can kind of clear that. So I'm going to go for condos. I'm going to go for townhomes, and then there's single family. So let's just look at that so far. And what we're looking at is you can see there's a lot of affordable stuff. Huntington for under 400 or under 500 rather. Lots of Huntington Beach, lots of Huntington Beach, lots of Huntington Beach, right? All the way 600-700. The most affordable stuff in San Clemente is going to start in the 600s. So there's way more. Well, as you can see, there's how many listings are showing up right now. Let me look at this. So there's 45 listings showing up right now, and one of them is in San Clemente. So 44 out of 45 of the most affordable are in San Clemente, or in Huntington Beach rather. So that is what I'm talking about. Now let's filter on the flip side for the most expensive. Now this is one of my favorite properties of all time. But as you can see, this is a little bit more even, right? There's a lot of bubbles popping up here and down in San Clemente, and there's slightly less in Huntington Beach, right? So San Clemente has a higher end, especially when you factor in this. This is a very trophy property. I would say this is not a normal price point you would see in San Clemente. This is a more normal high end you would see in San Clemente. And then in Huntington, you can see here that you've got your 6, your 5. In the harbor, you can see definitely into the teens, but 5 or 6 million is generally going to be the top that you'll normally see in Huntington Beach as well too. So let's finish it off talking about probably the most important thing. And if you've made it this far, thank you for watching. If you can, like the video and subscribe to the channel. One, we put out a couple of videos like this every single week that is all about Orange County. We put a lot of work into this, and we want to make sure we know what you are actually looking for. So if you like, subscribe, and then comment down below what type of videos you like the most, and we'll make sure to make more of those. But anyway, back to the lifestyle. So this is where San Clemente and Huntington are very similar. Up until this point, they're very different, other than they have a relatively similar median price point. So their lifestyles are very similar. Huntington Beach and San Clemente both kind of have this beach bummy lifestyle. And what I mean by that is people usually, I'm speaking very broad terms here. Generally speaking, people move to these cities because they want the beach feel, the beach lifestyle. And when I say beach, I mean beach, not like a coastal city feel, because Huntington, even though it borders Newport, those two cities could not be anywhere, like, they're so different. And same thing down south, San Clemente borders Dana Point, and those cities are very different as well too. So if you like the beach lifestyle, a more casual, laid-back approach, these cities are very, very common in that regard. Now, also, something they have similar as well too, is there's a lot of restaurants, small business stuff to do. So Huntington has way more of this, I will say, mostly because it's just way bigger. Huntington has way more commercial like use land, rather than San Clemente is mostly residential. Other than like Del Mar Street and maybe El Camino Real, there's a few like commercial areas. But if you like to go down to Del Mar, down to the pier, those are really fun places to go in San Clemente. And Huntington has that as well too. I would just say that it's just way bigger. So in Huntington's downtown area, you have the pier, you have the State Beach, obviously, and then you have Pacific City kind of all right there on Main Street. So there's a lot to do on Main Street. Let me show you on the map where this is actually at. So you've got Bolsa Chica, it is right, where's the pier? So you've got your Pacific City, which is this whole area here. And what I would explain this is like a, kind of like strip mall is the wrong word. It's like a high-end oceanfront. It's kind of for shopping, but it's really more just kind of a destination, I think is the best way to explain that. And then Main Street they have so much cool stuff that happens on Main Street. Now, again, it's very similar. Like they'll do at the pier here as well too. You also, I'm on the wrong street. Main Street here. Tons of restaurants, tons of shops, lots of fun stuff. They shut it down all the time to do different events. They do I'm blanking on the name of this. They do the surfing events. They do the US Open. So in Huntington, they shut it down. They do the US Open. I've done that several times. Super fun. So that is very similar to the same feel you will get in downtown San Clemente on Del Mar Street. However, it's just very small. Like this is it for Del Mar. There's these handful of shops here. Shops is the wrong word. There's like a coffee shop, a pizza place, one restaurant on the pier, and then you have Del Mar, which rolls Avenida Del Mar, the street here. And then you've got all these restaurants here. There's some really good ones, really fun little shopping areas. But you could walk this whole thing in like 5 minutes. Not that you couldn't walk the whole thing in Huntington, but there's just way more in Huntington. And at that point, it really just becomes preference as far as, frankly, location's the biggest difference. So if you want to be North Orange County, obviously you would choose Huntington. If you would rather be in South Orange County, obviously you'd be in San Clemente. So those are some obvious differences there. But other than that, honestly, very similar demographics, very similar, I'll say like political feels, if you will. They're both leaning a lot more on the conservative side rather than on the liberal side. Not that that matters, and I'm not touching politics, just kind of giving you broad generalities. Now, I will leave on one thing, is that Huntington's way more touristy and it's way more commercial. So if you want more of just a suburb feel, San Clemente is going to have that for sure. There's just way more commercial in Huntington Beach than there is in San Clemente. However, if you like either one of these cities, definitely tour both of them. I think the biggest thing the biggest determining factor in my experience helping a lot of people move to both cities is location and proximity. If you want to be in South OC, you're going to pick San Clemente. If you want to be in North OC, you're going to pick Huntington. Usually after 1 or 2 tours, you're picking one or the other. Most people don't shop between the two. Now, if you like this video and you are leaning more towards Huntington Beach, in this next video, I did the 5 major reasons why people choose to move to Huntington Beach. So before you move that, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in that next video. Again, thanks for watching. See you there.